Happy Gilmore.
What? So, Serling, give me a little Karloff sidekick.
Okay. Karloff sidekick.
Nice.
I don't know. I'm not good at it.
No, that was
I'm not
good.
good at it.
I like it.
I'm not good at it. Man, the weather we're having in LA is awesome.
I know. We can talk about that.
We're gonna jinx it, aren't I?
First off, I'm just going to say it, Serling. Happy Star Wars Day.
What?
May the 4th be with you. It's May 4th, and that was the day that Star Wars was released in 1977, so a lot of people celebrate Star Wars Day on today.
Oh.
So maybe we should watch one of the Star Wars
Yeah,
tonight.
yeah,
Empire
maybe we
Strikes
should.
Back.
Let's do it.
Empire Strikes Back.
No, I like the one with Princess Leia and her cute outfit.
That's Return of the Jedi, though. It's so bad.
I just
We'll
like
talk
that
about it.
scene, I think.
Yeah, maybe we'll watch the scene and then we'll watch Empire Strikes Back. So, welcome back, everybody, to the Season 5, The Ease. Because as you know, we are tackling these horror movies alphabetically. So we're doing movies that start with E this season.
Yes.
And we're coming off a doozy of a B picture with Earth
B
versus
picture?
the Spider.
I'm sorry,
B
a
picture.
A bee?
Oh, no, not the bees! Not the bees! Ah!
B picture. Yeah, that means, you know what that means, right? We talked about it before.
Yes.
Yeah, like zero budget almost, and made for the drive-in theaters in the 50s.
Yes.
So we just did Earth versus the Spider, so we thought, why not talk a little bit about a movie that focuses on a guy who made pictures like that. I mean, his pictures weren't even B. They were C, D minus pictures.
I think you mean Z.
Yeah. Ed Wood. So he comes from a long line and a storied tradition of independent producers in Hollywood. So we talked about Burt I. Gordon, who did Earth versus the Spider. We'll talk about Roger Corman. We've talked about George Romero. So all these guys operated outside the big studio system, and they just scrimped and saved and hit up people for money so that they could make these movies. And sometimes they're great, like A Night of the Living Dead, or like some of the Roger Corman stuff, a lot of the Roger Corman stuff. Sometimes they leave a little bit to be desired, let's say.
Yes.
But this was an interesting one to take on because it was also just pretty recently when we covered Dracula with, of course, the great
Bela Lugosi.
Yeah, and this movie is kind of his story as much as it is the story of our title character.
Ed Wood.
Yes.
So this movie happened in real life. This is, what's the word? A biography of Ed Wood?
Yeah, partially. I like to think that it's mostly accurate. I'm sure some stuff got dramatized. Bela Lugosi's son has gone on record as saying that his father didn't curse like that, like he does in the movie. He was very professional when he was on the set. Which is a little too bad because that's kind of some of the best stuff in the movie.
I do love it when he goes off about Karloff.
Yeah. And he didn't have a house full of chihuahuas, but 3 of his last 4 movies were Ed Wood productions. And he was addicted to drugs after having been prescribed them for pain from an injury that he got in World War I. He was in World War I. He was a veteran.
And did he die before they started shooting Plan 9 from outer space?
Mm-hmm.
But Ed Wood had that one little piece of film footage of him in front of his house. And they used that in the movie just so they could call it a Bela Lugosi film.
All true. Except it was, they actually shot it in front of Tor Johnson's house. But in Ed Wood, they made it in front of Bella's house. But yeah, specifically to be able to sell it as Bela Lugosi's final motion picture, which is the only reason it got made, really. So let's take a little trip back in time, shall we? To the 1950s.
It is the early 1950s in Hollywood, and Ed Wood, real-life guy, An ambitious, if not especially talented young man, is working as a lowly production assistant for one of the movie studios. And he desperately wants to make a film of his own. And he tries to convince a local sleazy schlock producer to let him direct a film based on the life of an actress who has undergone a sex reassignment operation.
Yeah.
And was sort of the first person to quickly become publicly known for it.
Yeah.
Ed has to tell the story because he has a little secret that he has been keeping, even from his girlfriend, Dolores.
Yeah. Ed likes to dress in women's clothing, ladies and gentlemen. Making him not the first transvestite we've seen in movies, right?
Yeah, we've got Tim Curry, man.
Yeah, and Victor Victoria.
Yes,
there was some of that in that.
And Tootsie.
Oh my gosh, yes. Yes, absolutely. So the problem is not that necessarily Ed needs to dress in women's clothes. That's more of a problem for his girlfriend, Dolores. The problem is that this producer guy can't trust a complete unknown like Ed to helm even a low budget garbage film. He still needs to know that he's going to make some money back on this.
Lucky for Ed, he randomly runs into the great but now barely working horror icon Bela Lugosi. They become friendly, and Ed now manages to convince the producer to let him direct the movie because he's got a bona fide movie star to add to the cast. The producer reluctantly agrees after having to be convinced that Bela Lugosi is even still alive enough to act in the movie.
He is, but do not under any circumstances mention the name Karloff to him.
Yeah, maybe leave that out of your discussion if you're speaking to him.
It really triggers him.
Yeah.
Really puts him into a bad place.
Did he really hate Karloff in real life?
I think he would.
He envied him?
I think he envied him. I think they were polite and respectful when they did press and things, talking about each other. But I think Bela was noted for saying that it took more talent to play Dracula than it did to play Frankenstein.
Ooh.
But I think he was envious and jealous because Boris made better decisions with the roles that he took after Frankenstein. You can have that argument as much as you want. Personally, I think it took just as much talent through a different lens to play each of those two monsters. But Boris just went with he just chose better. And he also didn't have the drug problem, so there were a couple things that made life a little tougher for Bela.
Yeah. So going
Ed
back to
gets
the story.
Job. He can have this movie if he can write it, direct it, and deliver it within a month, which it looks like he's going to be able to because he never shoots more than one take of a scene, no matter what goes wrong after he yells action, right?
Yeah, so he does manage to pull it off, but the movie flops, and Ed once again is scrambling to come up with a way to finance his next script. While trying, he continues amassing a small collection of interesting real-life characters to play the characters in his movie. Tor Johnson, a semi-professional hairy wrestler.
Very hairy guy.
Looks like a massive beast.
Yeah.
The amazing Criswell.
Yeah.
A phony psychic and minor celebrity. Is that who Bill Murray played?
No, that was Jeffrey Jones. Bill Murray plays Bunny Breckenridge, who was he was another socialite. He was independently wealthy and liked to cross-dress, liked to wear women's clothes.
Going on, he also recruits the fabulous Vampira, who has recently been fired from her job of hosting late-night horror movies.
All these are real-life people.
Yeah.
Yep. So they all sign on alongside Bela for Bride of the Monster. And they break into the studio lot and they steal a giant rubber octopus for the movie's climax. And Bela does, I would say, a more than serviceable job of making it seem like a legitimate threat in the little pond that they've created with a garden hose and some sandbags. I like that scene.
Yeah, but Bride of the Monster doesn't do much better than Glenn or Glenda did. And Ed is forced yet again to scrounge for money to continue his artistic dreams.
That's what these independent guys did. And then Bela has to check himself into rehab to kick his drug addiction. And he was one of the first Hollywood stars to do this voluntarily and publicly. Usually the studios would keep it secret and get their stars, their big stars, into rehab and clean them up. But Bela wasn't a big star by this point. And fun fact, do you know who visited Bela while he was in the hospital because he was such a fan? It's a singer who you think has a pretty good voice. You admit that. And you like some of his songs. And he was starting to get really, really famous in the 50s. Do you have a guess?
Frank Sinatra?
Yeah, nice. I was gonna say who's Nama's favorite singer of all time. But yeah, Frank Sinatra visited Bela Lugosi when he was in rehab and gave him $1,000 to help him out. That's $1,000 back in 1955. That's like $250 million in today's money.
Is that really?
No, but it was probably like, I don't know, it was probably like $20,000 back then. It's still a lot of money.
Wow. Why didn't they shoot that scene in this?
I don't know. They had someone playing Orson Welles. They could have gotten someone to play Frank Sinatra.
So while Ed is visiting Bela, he meets Kathy O'Hara and they fall in love. And she accepts Ed for the true man he is.
Yes, transvestitism and all. It's quite beautiful when that can happen, you know, two people accepting each other utterly for everything they are and aren't. So there's a love story in all this, too. Not just a love for movies, but love for people.
Yeah, so Bela gets cleaned up, but he can't pay his hospital bills, so they have to kick him out early.
That was sad.
Yeah, while in rehab, he goes through, obviously, the withdrawal symptoms.
Yeah, there's some painful scenes. But Ed stays by his side.
Yeah, but he knows his time with Bela is short, so he films a little footage of Bela outside his home smelling a rose.
And that little 2-minute clip turns out to be the last of Bela ever committed to celluloid.
And Ed uses that for the foundation of what is to become his most famous, terrible movie, Plan 9 from Outer Space.
His opus. And he hits plenty of frustrating setbacks and challenges along the way making that. But then he meets Orson Welles at a bar and gets reinvigorated, but I don't think that really happened in real life. Do you remember that scene?
Yeah.
He's at the bar.
Private Pile.
Yes. It's Orson Welles, played by Vincent D'Onofrio. Another great Vinny. I think he was dubbed, though.
Wait, someone else did his voice?
I think so. Still, pretty great scene. And Vinny D looks quite a lot like Orson Welles did. They did a good job with the makeup. Rick Baker, who won an Academy Award for...
Happy Gilmore.
What? You just sometimes pull movies out of your butt that astound me. No, he won an Academy Award for American Werewolf in London.
Oh!
And he won an Academy Award for the makeup for this movie. One of 2 Academy Awards that this movie won. Trailer. Happy Gilmore.
Tim Burton, director of Batman, Beetlejuice, and Edward Scissorhands, now takes you to a completely different world. The true story of a Hollywood legend, Ed Wood.
And action!
He made movies like no one else.
You want to keep moving. You've got to get through that door. Ah, that was perfect.
Perfect? Do you know anything about film production?
Well, I like to think so.
He had an eye for talent.
I met Bela Lugosi.
Well, I thought he was dead.
This is the most uncomfortable coffin I've ever been in.
No, he's very much alive. You flying saucer?
He had a passion for storytelling.
Get me transvestites. I need transvestites.
You're flashy. They want that. Okay. But they want professionalism. So nix on the Nelly without losing naivete.
What kind of a movie is this?
It's science fiction. A heartbreaking romance. Grave robbers from outer space.
Grave robbers from what?
And he had a secret he couldn't hide.
I like to dress in women's clothing.
How can you act so casual when you're dressed like that?
All right, everybody, let's finish this picture.
Touchstone Pictures presents Johnny Depp, Martin Landau, Sarah Jessica Parker, Patricia Arquette, and Bill Murray in the true story
Give him a hand. Keep rolling.
of an unforgettable filmmaker.
We're making another movie. I got the Church of Beverly Hills to put up the cash.
How do you get all your friends to get baptized just so you can make a monster movie?
And his legacy that will live forever.
How do you turn this on?
Shake his legs around. Looks like he's killing. This is the one.
I command you!
This is the one I'll be remembered for.
Ed Wood, a Tim Burton film.
Really? Worst film you ever saw? Well, my next one will be better. Hello?
I like that trailer. Recommended age?
10.
I got to go a little higher.
Because there's heroin scene. Okay.
Well, there's that, and also just to handle some of the cross-dressing stuff.
Okay.
So if you're a sensitive household to stuff like that out there, maybe you just skip this one. But I would say, like, a mature 11-and-a-half-year-old like you handle this movie no problem.
Sup?
Yeah. So go watch.
Yeah.
So deep dive. So, Tim Burton, who directed this, he was drawn to the story of Bella and Ed because it actually echoed some of his own relationship with the great Vincent Price. Vincent Price was really impressed by Burton when he was still in film school, in college, and Tim Burton sent him a stop-motion short film that he created in 1982 called Vincent, which was about a little boy who thinks he's Vincent Price, and he's obsessed with Edgar Allan Poe. So Vincent Price did the voiceover for that and loved the film, and Vincent Price called it a greater honor than a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame.
Was it a good film?
Yeah, we can watch it. It's like a little 10-minute stop-motion movie. It's the first thing Tim Burton really kind of ever produced, but he was a student while he did it.
And then Tim Burton put Vinny in Edward Scissorhands, and I think that was the last film he did.
Yep. Now, occasionally I will share an actual published review of a movie that we're covering on the cast, and I'll usually go with Roger Ebert, who was a film critic that I have a fair amount of respect for, although he really tended to not like horror movies, but he was a good writer. And here's what he had to say about Ed Wood in 1994. So the film celebrates Wood more than it mocks him. It also celebrates the zany spirit of 1950s exploitation films in which a great title, a has-been star, and a lurid ad campaign were enough to get bookings for some of the oddest films ever made. So that sums this movie up pretty well.
Yeah.
So what else came out in 1994?
Puppet Master 5.
Oh, wow. Yeah, a lot of Puppet Masters. I know the first one. I think that's a Charles Band movie, another independent producer.
Cemetery Man.
I think I've seen that too. That was a foreign film.
The Crow.
Yep. Oh, that's Bruce Lee's son was killed on set making that movie. We talked a little bit about that.
Who's Bruce Lee again?
Bruce Lee was the martial arts guy in the 60s and 70s.
Oh.
And then his son was the star of this movie. And one of the guns that they were firing during the scene, it wasn't cleaned properly. And he died.
Did he die at least at the end?
No, they still had like a third of the movie to shot, so they had to use stand-ins and stuff like that. But they released it, but it was terrible. No, I mean, the movie wasn't terrible. The movie might have been a lot better had that tragedy not happened, but it was a terrible thing that happened, obviously.
Interview with the Vampire?
Mm-hmm.
I want to watch that. That seems funny.
It's not, I don't think it's funny.
Tammy and the T-Rex.
Yeah, that sounds funny.
It's made to be a comedy, I hope.
Romantic movie?
Yeah, between Tammy and the T-Rex. I'm not lying. It's between Tammy. Yeah, the T-Rex dies at the end. Spoiler.
What? Why are you doing that?
No one's going to watch it. It looks awful, Dad.
Well, luckily we get to wait until the tease before we have to make that decision.
The Club.
The Club. I
don't know
that one.
Phantasm 3.
Yeah. Oh, there's another. John Coscarelli is another one of these guys who had to scrimp and save to make his films. And Phantasm 2 was a big studio production, but he didn't do very well, so he had to go back to independently raising money for Phantasm 3 and 4, and I think it stopped at 5.
Here's one that we should have watched in the A's. Almost Dead. It's a zombie movie.
I don't know that one.
It looks cool.
Okay.
Flesh and Blood, which has Christopher Lee starring in it.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Old Christopher Lee. 94, he would have been pretty old. Although he didn't die until the 2000s. He died somewhat recently. Keep going.
Bloodless Subspecies 3. And Wolf.
Oh, the Jack Nicholson werewolf movie.
Is it good?
About. I've never seen it. We should watch it, though.
No, we're watching Star Wars tonight.
Okay. Deal. Pluses. There's a lot to like about this movie.
The acting, Johnny Depp is amazing as always.
Well, yes. He turns in a really intriguing and winning performance in this.
Did he get an Oscar for this?
I think he may have been nominated for a Golden Globe. He did not get an Oscar. But he is just the relentless optimism, and he's so quirky and just really likable.
Yeah, he is definitely the underdog you are rooting for, despite knowing exactly how things are going to turn out.
You're kind of rooting for him in life as the underdog, and
Yeah.
also in the industry as the underdog, yeah. And, yeah, you do know how things are going to turn out for him, at least if you know a little something about film history.
Because you've talked about Plan 9 from Outer Space.
Have I talked to you about it before?
And you said it's the worst film ever made.
I said it had a reputation for that. Personally, I've seen worse. Dead Silence, last season. Take a listen.
Yes, take a
and
listen.
this is a film that really did help John Depp turn into a mega star actor, to showcase his range, and was credited as a really brave choice for him for roles to accept at this point in his career, which was still kind of burgeoning. Martin Landau playing Bela Lugosi is great. So really great performances in this.
I liked the cinematography, the black and white stuff.
Yeah, and they had trouble getting it approved to be shot in black and white. But Tim Burton had total control over this movie, so he demanded it. He's like, it's not going to work if we shoot it in color. But I remember when this came out, a lot of people were suspicious that a black and white movie was being released. It was very unusual at the time. So like, what are they trying to save money on this? But it was clear like they had to shoot it in black and white because it's supposed to be the B-movie world of this B-movie god.
I like the story that it tells.
Yeah, it's inspirational. It kind of teaches you the value of perseverance, right? Dogged pursuit of your goals despite any and all obstacles that surround and confound you, including just a supreme lack of enviable talent. Like he was not good at coming up with ideas for movies. He was not a good director. He's not a good writer. But he did it anyway.
Yeah, he was creative.
He was creative.
But
but the movie kind of says, do whatever it is in life that you believe you were put on this earth to do, right?
Yeah, it is a fun movie. Definitely, you guys should watch it. I also like the music a lot. Tim Burton normally uses Danny Elfman for the music in his movies. Yeah. But this time he didn't. Who did he use?
He used a guy named Howard Shore.
Howard Shore.
He did the music to The Brood. And he also did really, really good music to Silence of the Lambs. Yes, The Brood, season 2. But yeah, apparently Tim Burton and Danny Elfman needed a little break from each other after they did Batman Returns. Dad. They weren't getting along so well.
Dad, the S's are going to be good. Suspiria.
Ooh, Silence of the Lambs.
Silence of the Lambs.
That snake movie. What else? Shining?
Yes.
Gosh, yeah. Look, we're not sticking to the road here.
Okay, fine.
To quote American Werewolf in London.
Sterling Spotlight. Yeah, take a listen. Yep, Sterling Spotlight. Okay.
Who we got?
Johnny Depp.
You got a little crush of poo on the Johnny Depp.
Okay, yeah. He was in Edward Scissorhands.
Great movie.
Crybaby.
John Waters movie.
I watched the trailer.
It's weird.
From Hell.
Yeah, he plays a guy who's trying to track down Jack the Ripper.
Who's Jack the Ripper?
You don't know who Jack the Ripper is? He's like one of the first, most famous serial killers. He used to kill prostitutes on the streets of London.
Blow?
Mm-hmm.
Secret Window?
Yeah. See, not everyone's a Maserati with Johnny Depp.
Sleepy Hollow?
Yeah, that's where he's taking on the Headless Horseman, who's played by Christopher Walken. So we should watch that. That's another Tim Burton movie.
How do you even know that it's Christopher Walken? His head is gone.
Well, sometimes it's on him.
Charlie and the Chocolate Factory?
Yeah. I didn't mind his performance in that, but I didn't love the movie.
Yeah. Into the Woods.
Yep. I can't believe you're leaving Sweeney Todd off.
Oh, you think I am? What's this in big bold letters? Do you see those? Do you see such a good movie? Pirates of the Caribbean. So he did a lot of those. So
yeah, the first one's really the only good one.
Yeah,
and it is good.
Chocolat.
Yeah,
I love that movie.
I love that movie
so much. That actually might be one of my favorite movies from Johnny Depp. Can we watch that tonight?
That's one of my favorite movies.
It's
we're watching Star Wars.
Nightmare on Elm Street. Very young.
I think that was his first movie.
That was.
Yeah.
I looked.
And he has a very memorable scene in that.
Oh, yeah. He's a musician.
Yes. He plays guitar in a group called the Hollywood Vampires. And he plays with Alice Cooper, who's the guy who sings Welcome to My Nightmare.
Welcome to
Joe
my
Perry,
nightmare.
who's the guitarist from Aerosmith. It's like a little side project that they do. And yeah, he plays guitar.
Is he good?
I have no idea whether he's any good. I guess he's probably okay.
I mean, if he's playing with them, probably.
Yeah, but, I think famous people kind of hang out together. It doesn't mean that they're talented. It just means that they're famous. Any other pluses before we go to minuses? And did you have any minuses?
No.
I had some in it. So do you remember the scene where they're trying to raise the money for the movie, and you have that organ player in the turban who's staring directly at the camera? Do you remember that?
No. From this?
Yeah. And they're all dancing around, and he comes out, and he's dressed up in the women's clothes.
Oh, yes, I remember that.
But you have that organ player who's, like, providing the entertainment, and he's not saying anything, but he's staring directly at you, because he's looking right into the camera.
And you're like,
so I'm like,
freaky.
what? I was taken aback by that at first, but then I was like, well, maybe I like that, because maybe what Tim Burton's trying to do is he's trying to make us feel like we're part of the outcast misfits that are at this party
right,
that
I'm
kind
fine
of
with
Ed
that.
has thrown around himself and gathered and assembled. So I guess ultimately I like it. I'll tell you, I couldn't decide whether this is a minus or a I love that Bill Murray is in this movie, but I don't really love him all that much in this movie. I dig that he was trying new things as an actor, and he's always tried to do more than just be a comedic actor. But I don't think he quite works here. What did you think?
He's distracting
Yes.
as his character.
Because it's like, well, that's definitely Bill Murray. He's not doing a whole lot to distract you from the fact that it's Bill Murray. He still has the Bill Murray kind of cadence and tone to the way he's reading his lines. But yeah. But here's the interesting thing about the character he's playing, Bunny Breckenridge. So we said he was this independently wealthy bon vivant about Hollywood, but his dying words were, I was a little bit wild when I was young, darling, but I lived my life grandly.
Those are cool last words. Those could almost pass for Freddie Mercury's last words.
Yeah, they could. He used to say darling a lot, too. Yeah.
Who are you telling me about yesterday, his last words? Who was that?
Oh, yeah, heartbreaking. David Cassidy. Because how much did we love the Partridge Family?
Well, not the TV show.
No, you have absolutely zero interest in test driving an episode of the Partridge Family. And I get it. It was terrible. I think you just watched it back then to hear the songs.
But a lot of the songs are great.
Yep, and David Cassidy, legitimately was a really, really good singer.
Yeah, and you were saying, he was a big deal back then.
He was. My sisters and cousins had major Keith Partridge / David Cassidy fever. But yeah, he toured on his own and he sold out stadiums. He was a legitimate rock star. And at one point, he was the highest paid entertainer in the world, I think, for a very short time. But still.
And he died from alcoholism.
Yeah, he was waiting for a liver transplant. Sad. But his last words were, so much wasted time. Crud. Okay, thanks for tuning in, folks.
Yeah, that's kind of a bummer.
You brought it up. Hey, check out our other podcast, Famous Dying Words. That would actually be a great podcast. Patented. It's mine.
Can we do that?
No, that idea. Famous Last Words, mine. Cam Hay Productions Limited. All rights reserved. Wardrobe by Botany 500. We are not sticking to the road.
No.
Here.
No.
We are in the moors. Yeah. We are Jack and David. Oh, Jack and David Cassidy.
Oh
David Cassidy,
God.
or Jack Cassidy was David Cassidy's dad in real life. He was an actor also. And he died because he burned up in his apartment from not putting a cigarette out. True. Jack and David. Okay, trailer. Oh, we did that.
We did that already,
right.
Dad. SGS mode.
We can skip
we
SGS.
Can skip those. Coolest kill. We can skip that Bella, I guess.
Bella is the coolest character
Saddest.
to die in the movie, but it doesn't really count.
Pay free. We can't do that either.
Well, we can because I think Ed had tons of characters in his movie who did the freeze thing where they would have their arms extended and their hands splayed and their eyes wide and kind of petrified shock as Tor Johnson and Vampira close in very, very slowly.
Very slowly.
Yes. So there's a lot of freezing in Ed Wood films. But yeah, this is kind of a non-traditional scary movie that we're covering. It's really just more important for the legacy of Ed Wood and a nod to B movies because we do a lot of B movies on the show. Are you ready for Guess the Tomato?
Yeah.
Okay. So this movie got what do you think this movie would get?
78%.
You are low. This movie got 92% on Rotten Tomatoes. And it didn't make a lot at the box office, but like we said, it got 2 Academy Awards. So one for Rick Baker for makeup and one for Martin Landau playing Bela Lugosi. And here's another 92% movie on Rotten Tomatoes, Star Wars, A New Hope, the first one, speaking of Star Wars Day. And an okay horror movie called Barbarian, that was semi-recent. Pulp Fiction, with the guy from Grease playing a hitman. The Shape of Water, so basically if Creature from the Black Lagoon was a lot better looking. That got 92%. Spider-Man Homecoming, Matilda, and RoboCop.
All right, Guess the Tomato. I'll get something that we're playing for, okay?
Okay.
I'll be right back.
You're back?
Indeed I am.
What have you got? That's my wallet.
I know, we're playing for cash.
Okay.
There you go.
Let's see what I got in here. Let's play for 5s.
5s.
Yeah, $5 bills.
10s.
No.
Ebenezer Scrooge.
Let's play for your money sometime.
No.
Okay, so Guess the Tomato. I'm going to give you another 92% movie.
Yay.
I'm going to give you clues. We're going to start off with 5 points, which equals $25.
Ooh, I want
so if you
that.
get it after this, you get 25 buckaroos. So, for $25, the director of this 92% movie, we talked about him on the last episode in terms of good movies versus bad movies. But this is one of his good movies. Do you remember who the director that we talked about in the last episode? Guess the Tomato?
Steven Spielberg.
Yes, so this is one of his good movies. Are you going to just
Salem's
guess?
Lot.
He didn't direct that. Had nothing to do
sorry,
with that.
sorry.
Really good,
no, that
though.
doesn't count. That doesn't count.
The only connection I can draw is Toby Hooper directed the TV movie of
Shush.
Salem's Lot, and Toby Hooper and Steven Spielberg worked together on Poltergeist. That's as close as I can get you to that, but no money. So I'll keep one of my 5s. So now you're down to $20. There are lots of sequels to this movie. It's a true mega franchise. And you've seen a bunch.
Friday the 13th.
He had nothing to do with that movie either.
Wait, not yet. Please. I don't know that many Steven Spielberg movies.
You know a lot of Steven Spielberg movies.
I feel like it's Jaws, but he didn't direct that.
He didn't direct the sequels to Jaws. Of course he directed Jaws.
I meant
oh, my God. You meant the sequels. Please tell me you meant the sequels.
Yes.
All right, so now we're down to $15.
No. Give me better hints.
All right. For $15. There are 2 kids in this movie. There are a lot of kids in Steven Spielberg movies because he loved to appeal to a child audience. And the 2 kids in this movie have some pretty significant skills that play into the movie. So one is an older sister, and she's a computer whiz. And the younger brother knows a ton about a certain type of animal. In this 92%, one of the better Steven Spielberg movies, $15 on the line. Computer whiz, older sister, animal expert, certain kind of animal expert, younger brother.
I'm thinking, okay? Just give me...
Steven Spielberg, $10. The animal that the younger brother knows a lot about is dinosaurs. And they're stuck in what can only be described as a large outdoor area, lots of trees, almost like a big giant garden, but not a big giant garden.
Like a park.
Like a park,
Yeah,
exactly, like a
yeah.
park.
Wow, Jurassic Park.
Yeah, here's $10.
Thank you.
Took you long enough. All right, you want to go one higher, one lower,
Lower.
than Ed Wood on Rotten Tomatoes? One lower, 91%. Marvel's The Avengers.
Oh.
Glass Onion, which is that sequel to Knives Out. You know, who Daniel Craig plays the detective.
Daniel Craig.
Raising Arizona.
Don't know that.
Is he has a really funny movie. Mrs. Incredible is in it, and Nicolas Cage, guy from The
Nicolas
Croods.
Cage?
Yeah, it's a really funny movie. We'll watch it sometime. And the movie that I just watched with BJ, Heretic.
Yes, I want to watch that really badly.
It was pretty good. Oh, one higher than this movie, 93%, one of my favorites.
Oh, Lord.
What's the movie I always say? Use fancy pants, all he is.
Oh, I remember watching scenes from it.
And it's got Daddy Warbucks in it.
Yes.
It's called Miller's Crossing.
Yes.
It's amazing.
Oh my god.
One of my favorites. And Terminator 2, which we never finished that. But I think you liked it. I don't think you liked that Arnold Schwarzenegger was the good guy in that versus the bad guy.
He's
like
more
he was
attractive at a bad guy.
But you like him in Predator.
Okay,
good guy in that. Oh, and also at 93%, we started watching this movie too. Speaking of Nicolas Cage, Face Off.
Yay! I like that.
We have a lot of movies to A, watch, and B, finish.
Would that count in the F's, Face Off?
It's not really a horror movie, but we might find a way to crowbar it.
It's...
After all, John Travolta is also in the movie. He is in Carrie.
Yeah.
And Nicolas Cage is in Renfield. Plays Dracula. Plays a vampire for the second time in his career.
Ready to move on to the Bondometer? Speaking of Daniel Craig, I mean...
Yeah. So 92%.
It's one of our favorites.
Okay, hold on. 92%.
One of our favorite villains.
One of our favorite villains. Not Goldfinger.
Mm-mm.
Doctor No? No, that's higher.
Yeah, that's higher. That's like in the 98s.
Give me another hint. One of my favorite villains or your favorite villains?
Both.
Okay.
He's got very messy teeth, let's say, and he's a bit of a psychopath.
Silva.
Yes.
So Skyfall. He's your favorite villain.
I love him.
I think he's one of...
No. He's not my favorite. You know who my favorite is.
I know, but that's not anywhere close to this, I don't think. I like Javier Bardem better in No Country for Old Men as a villain than in Skyfall. But, so it's between... So Skyfall's 92%?
Yeah, and that's between a... Well, there's a lot of water in this 85% Bond movie.
Oh, Thunderball. I know Thunderball is 85%.
Yes, and there's a lot of gambling in this 94% Bond movie.
He's always gambling.
I know.
But that's high, 94. Oh, that's Casino Royale.
Yes.
All right. Not bad. How about your... Let's just skip the Fearometer.
Yeah, like 0.
Because I had a 1.75, but that's only because I was a film major. And I know how terrifying it could be to try to bring in a low-budget movie on time to get a decent grade and qualify for the Boston University Film Festival. Even though I did meet the deadline, I always broke the rules for film length. My movies were always over the run time cutoff. But they always got in anyway.
Okay, let's go to the Funometer.
Yeah,
Phonometer.
What are you giving it?
I give it a 6.
All right.
Decent 6.
I'm about there because it's a fun movie, right?
Yeah.
It's 5.5 I gave it. And it's nice when you get to have fun and also watch something that's at least semi-historically accurate and kind of learn something.
All right, Impactometer. I gave this a 7.
Wow, why?
Because Ed Wood had a big, maybe not the impact he wanted on movies, but
people are
made
still
an
talking
impact.
about him.
Yeah.
And also just this movie, it meant a lot for Johnny Depp's career. It won Martin Landau the Oscar. It won Rick Baker another Oscar. So I went 5, but that's impressive. You went 7.
Yeah.
Okay. Not disputing it. All right.
Next time on DDSH, DD Spod, we're going back to Animals Get Angry. This time we've got 6 legs instead of 8.
That doesn't exactly narrow things down Animal Angry-wise, does it?
No.
Guess we'll just have to come back and find out.
Take a listen back to Dog Soldiers, please. That's such a good episode. Please.
It's our worst listened to
I know,
episode.
it's such a good movie.